Hey, how's it going, GPU heads? Thanks for clicking on my video. 𝗧-𝗦𝗏𝗧𝗦 here. And what's gonna happen once Ethereum mining ends? Because as most of you probably know, we won't be able to actually mine Ethereum anymore after, well, they said first they said end of this year, and now they kind of pushed that to Q1 to Q2 of next year. So, I mean, point is, Ethereum mining will probably come to an end soon-ish. And what's actually going to happen to GPU mining then? What will profits look like after that happens? You know, the sort of Ethereum 2.0 merge into being proof of stake instead of proof of work, you know, aka it not being able to be mined on GPUs anymore. Well, I actually have done the math on this. That's right, it's time for another spreadsheet video. So let's get over to the computer and let's get started. Oh, and by the way, I'm doing a giveaway with mineable.org. If you check out my last video, you can see how you can enter to, you know, win some Raven coin. So just go check that out. All right, so before we can start talking about what profits will look like after, you know, the merge, which is when Ethereum will move from proof of work to proof of stake and not be mineable anymore, we need to talk about what will actually happen when that happens. So for that, let's jump onto good old what to mine here. And so for this example, I'm just using a single 3070, and let's look at what we have here as of right now today, right? So we have Ethereum, which mining on a single 3070 will profit you around $3.89 after electricity cost of 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And so if we then go down the list here, we can see we have Ryo at $3.38, Ergo at $3.40, and so on, right? And so the second thing we need to take a look at here is the net hash, which is the network hash rate. What that means is just how much hash rate there is on the whole Ethereum network, or on all of these other coins network as well. So basically, how much hash power is on there, how many people are mining with how much hash power on a specific coin's network, right? And so we can see here on Ethereum, there's currently 708 terahashes per second. You know, and you might be able to understand how much that is if you have a single card. As we can see here, for example, the 3070 what to mine says that will give us about 58.1 megahashes per second. So if that's a single card around 60 megahashes a second, the whole network is 708 terahashes per second. So that's like 10 million times that amount or something like that. Anyway, all of that to get to the point of, like, when Ethereum mining goes away, all of this hash rate, right, it has to move somewhere else, or it most likely will move somewhere else, because people aren't just gonna give up mining, at least most people, you know. So this hash rate has to go somewhere, and I mean, it is my guess or guesstimate or whatever that it won't all just go into one coin, because what's going to happen is if all of this hash rate goes, for example, into Ryo, then that will just make Ryo extremely unprofitable to mine, while we have all of these other coins that are still very much profitable to mine. So what, you know, would be my guess as to what will happen is, you know, some people will start moving over to Ryo, and then Ryo will fall down the list in profitability, and then Ergo will be the most profitable coin, and then some of the people who haven't switched yet, they'll switch to Ergo until that starts falling down the list, and it will kind of balance itself out. So what I mean is that this hash rate, like the whole network hash rate of Ethereum, it won't all go to one coin, but it will distribute itself kind of evenly among all of these coins here that are profitable. You can see there's quite a lot of coins here that are, I mean, very profitable still. We're still at around $1 worth of profit per day on, like, down here, and yeah, lots of coins are still very much profitable. So then we have to understand something else, which is like 60 megahash on Ethereum is not 60 megahash on all other coins, because other coins use different algorithms. So some of you have probably mined both Ethereum and Ravencoin maybe, for example, or Ethereum and 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, and then you know that like the same card, like let's say a 3070, right, gets around 60 megahash on Ethereum, but it gets around 180 megahash on 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗧, but only around 30 megahash on Ravencoin. And that is because they use different algorithms. So you can't convert the hash rate on a 1-to-1 ratio. So as an example, we can't just say that 100 of these terahash will go to 𝗧𝗢𝗧𝗦, 100 of these will go to 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗡, because they won't be that same amount on those other coins, right? So that is where my spreadsheet and math and stuff comes in, and so that's what I have done. So I hope you understand that concept of the hash rate kind of distributing itself somewhat evenly to even out the profitability of all the other coins. And now we're gonna move over to my spreadsheet where I've done the math on what will the profitability of those other coins actually look like then when that happens. And just before I move over there, like the numbers I've used for profitability and for network hash rate, like those change many times every single day. So they will never be up to date and they will never be accurate, pretty much. Like the only time they were accurate to some degree was when I made the spreadsheet, which was like for the last couple of days, right? Or about a week actually. I've been working on this. So please understand that the numbers you see in my spreadsheet here, they won't match the numbers you see on 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗦. Like they'll match closely, but they won't be exactly the same. And then they'll be less exact the next day and the next day and the next day, because they always change. So please just understand that, because I don't want all of my comments to be, oh, the profitability numbers are wrong. Yeah, because they always change. Okay, sorry about that little rant. It's just I get a lot of comments like that. Okay, so let's move over to the spreadsheet. And also another quick little disclaimer, nothing in this video is financial advice by any stretch of the imagination, and I hope you understand that. This is just me cranking some numbers. Okay, so let's get into the actual numbers of this thing, right? So here I have the, like as of making this, the 30 most profitable coins to mine as of 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗦, right? So as we can see here, we got Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Ravencoin, 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗏, Conflux, 𝗧𝗏, and so on and so on. So the 30 most profitable coins. Then I've got the network hash rate for all these coins. So we got 685 terahash a second for Ethereum, which is what the network hash rate was when I made this. And if you want to grab a copy of this spreadsheet and input your own numbers, feel free to do so. Link will be in the description. But yeah, so we got all the network hash rates here, and then we got the network hash rates converted into just like hashes per second. So as you can see, 685 terahash a second is actually 685 trillion hashes per second. Is that right? 1,000 million billion trillion. Yeah, I believe so. Or maybe it's even one further. I don't know. It's a very high number. And so that's what I've done here. But as you can see, it becomes even more clear that hash rates don't translate 1-to-1, because here we start seeing kilo solutions per second rather than hashes per second or grafts per second, right? So all that to say, hash rate doesn't convert on a 1-to-1 ratio. So how would it convert? And the reason why we need to do that is if all this hash rate moves and spreads evenly among all of these other coins, how much will that actually affect those network hash rates? So in order to know that, we need to know, well, what is kind of like the equivalent, like what will this hash rate actually look like on other coins? And so to calculate a loose estimate of what that would look like, I just used a 3070, which I feel is a somewhat middle of the road. It's a powerful GPU, but it's also not like a 3080 or a 3090. Like it's kind of a good benchmark for a hash rate, maybe, in my opinion. So as we can see here, 62 megahash on Ethereum would be 62 megahash on Ethereum Classic, because they use very similar algorithms. And we can see here it's about 30 megahash on Ravencoin, 180 megahash on 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, as I've said already. And then just going down the list here, I've basically, well, because I've actually tested many of these coins on my own 3070s, so I know the hash rates there. But for the ones I haven't, I have researched and figured out sort of what hash rates a 3070 would get on those coins. So as we can see here, I have converted all like the hash rate for all of these different coins here, and then I've also like converted it to the full number. So for example, 62 megahash a second means 62 million hashes per second. This column is just if I've personally tested these hash rates, or if they are hash rates that I've researched and found in my research. So with that, we get a hash ratio to what it would have been on the Ethereum algorithm, so on ETH hash. And as we can see, the ratio for Ethereum Classic is just 1, because it's the same, right? Like the same GPU would get the same hash rate on both those coins, both those algorithms, right? And same for Ubiq, because that also uses a very, very similar algorithm to Ethereum. And so now we get this ratio here for basically if you were to convert the hash rate of Ethereum to these other coins, like what is the conversion ratio basically, right? And as we get that, what we can do now is we can figure out, okay, how much hash rate do these other coins have related to Ethereum? And that is very interesting to know. So for example, if we look at something like 𝗓𝗏, for example, we can see here it only has 13.8 kilograms per second. Now that sounds like that's not very much at all. But then if we look at here and we see that a 3070 only gets half a graph per second, we see that the hash ratio is really, really like a lot. And actually, like 𝗓𝗏 has quite a big network hash rate, even though it doesn't look like it, because it only looks like 13.8 kilograms versus 685 terahash. Like that sounds like it should be like a billion times less, but it's actually just about 600 times less or something like that. I thought that was very interesting. And now, once we have all of that, we can start converting and seeing, okay, if we were to take all of this hash rate and start distributing it out throughout all of these networks, what would that actually look like? You know, how much would all of these networks increase in total hash rate? So moving on, we got what we have currently, right? So first of all, this is just how much power the GPUs consume on these different algorithms loosely. And then we have the income per day that they were making as of me making this spreadsheet, and that will be different today because it changes multiple times per day. But it should be a ballpark, and you know, let's just go with what these numbers are. It will give us a good guesstimate, which is all we can get, because guess what? Nobody can tell the future, not even me. And so with that, we also have the power cost running these GPUs on these algorithms, and that would finally give us the profit per day out here in this column here. So what we do then is I just take all of this hash rate here and I add it all up together, and I see, okay, how much is that actually? And I have a little secret cell for that over here. So that has a total of 62 whatever tera hash, let's call it. If it was on ETH hash, it would have been 62 terahash per second total hash rate on all of these coins together. So as you can see, there's now about 10 times more hash rate on Ethereum than there is on the 29 like second most profitable coins out there. So what that would mean is if this hash rate just went all into all of these coins right now, you know, simply there's 10 times more hash rate on Ethereum than on all of the coins together. That means if all the hash rate from Ethereum moved over to all these coins, profitability would go down by 10, because there would be 10 times more hash rate on all the coins. That means 10 times less profit for all of us. So it gets trickier than that though, because, or not trickier, actually it gets quite a lot better, because there are a lot of ASICs running on Ethereum. And what an ASIC is basically simply explained, it's a machine designed solely of the purpose of mining Ethereum. It can't mine any other algorithm than ETH hash, which means once Ethereum mining goes away, this machine is basically just garbage. It's trash. Because it can only mine coins with that specific algorithm. And now you might say, oh, but couldn't those move to Ethereum Classic? Well, actually, I did some research there, and it seems like they couldn't, since Ethereum Classic kind of changed their algorithm around a little bit a while back. So for now, we're gonna go with the fact that what I found, which was that no, those ASICs cannot move over to Ethereum Classic. And if you try to find out how many ASICs are there actually on Ethereum, like what percentage of the network hash rate is ASICs, I mean, it's an impossible figure to figure out, but loose estimations puts it between, like somewhere between, I don't know, 40 to 60% or something like that is what I've seen. So if we were to go with, let's call it 55%, right? Then let's say, you know, after Ethereum mining goes away, not literally everyone is probably gonna move over to another coin. At least it's my guess that like a lot of people mining Ethereum right now might just be people with a single graphics card in their gaming computer mining something, and once that just like stops working, they might just be like, oh, whatever, and turn it off. So if we were to say that that's about 10% of the hash rate as well, is just from people that isn't going to bother researching how to mine a different coin after Ethereum mining goes away, then that leaves us with about 66% of this hash rate that will go away, you know, after the merge, after Ethereum moves to proof of stake. And so I have a little column here that you can edit. So if we say that 66% of all of the hash rate will go away after the merge, then now we only have about a third of this, so about 200 terahash per second that needs to divide evenly among all those 29 other coins. And also take into account there are more than 29 other profitable coins to mine. These I just stopped at 30, or this would have taken forever to do. So it's actually better than this in reality. Then let's move over, and we got income per day after the move. And so this takes into account like the profitability of all of these coins, but it's dividing this by the ratio of that you get after the network hash rate moves over to them, basically. So as we said, you know, right now there's about 10 times as much. So we would have had these numbers divided by 10, but then we say that 66% of that will move away, which leaves us with about, you know, these numbers divided by about 3.7 instead. You can see that number hiding down here. So if we take a look, then we can see that after the move to proof of stake happens, we'll still, like, many coins will still be very much profitable to mine. And I hope you went into this with the expectations that like profits are gonna go down. Like set yourself up with those expectations, because it is extremely good and extremely profitable to mine right now. And please do keep that in mind. But so if you're asking me this, like if we look at Equilibria, for example, like that's $1 a day still on a single 3070. That's pretty good. And then of course we have profits per day, which is just these numbers minus power cost per day. And then this is just taking the hash rate and sort of evenly distributing it. But what if we were to take the hash rate and distribute it so that like the more hash rate a network has and the more profitable that coin is currently, the more hash rate it gets. So that what would be the average profitability of a coin after Ethereum mining goes away? And as we can see here, that is about 64 cents a day on all of these different coins. I mean, that's pretty good. And that said, there's also something else that might happen, which is prices of these coins can go any which way, you know. So just because a coin is worth a specific amount right now, that doesn't mean it might not be worth twice as much, 10 times as much in 6 months, 9 months, whenever this happens is, right? So for that, let's count with that actually, and let's see what happens. We have our little cell here, which is market price change after the move. And so right now it's on 1, meaning it won't go down and it won't go up, like multiplied by 1. But what if, you know, because all that hash rate moving onto other coins is obviously going to strengthen the networks of those coins, which could have a positive impact on the price of those coins, meaning they'll become more valuable. So let's say that all those coins will double in price. And now that's what we have over here, income per day after move with price change. So as we can see, if the prices just double, we're getting some pretty good profits now. Like some of these are looking pretty good. Like again, Equilibria, almost $2 per day, $1.48 after power cost on a single 3070. That is pretty good. But so what if, the prices were to quadruple? I mean, then we're starting to see numbers here that are like today's numbers, really. Like $3.53 mining Conflux. That's pretty sweet. Those are good profits. Now, of course, that is taking into account two things. That first one being that about 66% of the Ethereum hash rate goes away at the move because they're either ASICs or they're just gonna be people that don't bother moving over anymore. And it's also taking into account a market move of about quadrupling the price of all these coins. But even if it's only about half of the hash rate that falls away, and the price of these coins they don't increase, like it's still gonna be profitable to mine. So that's good. But I believe that is basically where I'm going to leave you guys today. Let's have another look at profitability again, right? So I think 66% of the hash rate going away is a reasonable guess, and I think maybe prices doubling isn't too big of an ask. Now, I'm not saying all coins are gonna exactly double in price, but that maybe on average each coin is gonna double with all of the extra hash rate going in. Then again, not financial advice at all. I have no idea, because guess what? I cannot tell the future, and nobody can. But let's wish that that's gonna happen, and let's see what that would look like. Still looking pretty good. About $1.40 to 50 cents on pretty much all of these coins. Profit per day on a single 3070. Pretty good. Now, I don't know about you, but I was actually quite positively surprised by just how profitable mining kind of could be still after, Ethereum mining goes away. So yeah, it's looking a bit more optimistic than I thought personally. And if you could do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, then please give it one of these. I'd really appreciate that. And what you gotta do now is you gotta click on one of those videos on the screen, because this video is over. You can also click the picture of my face to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, go click on that next video and I'll see you there. Goodbye. Bye bye.